so we're a little late getting started, and we have a few subrecipient applicants who were unable to come tonight, and they are the Boys and Girls Club and O Positive Festival. So hopefully, we will still have a representative from Clinton Avenue Methodist Church, who is scheduled for 5:45, Center for Holographic Arts at 6:15, and Circle of Friends at 6:30. In the meantime, we can have a conversation about the process, what we still need to do, or we can just sit and look at each other until the 6:15 shows.
So it seems like the Clinton Avenue Methodist Church group is not showing since it's after 5.
Well, they are at, what,
5:45?
5:45.
So it's 5:52. They might still show up, but probably not.
I mean, if you want, we can discuss the applications, but it was clear in their application that, everybody should be coming before the committee for one-on-one sessions, so there was a better understanding of their program and if there was any questions, because if they're not here to answer the questions, then it's hard to really get a good determination and evaluation on funding them.
So, but in fact, so I guess I do have a procedural question. So if they don't show up, we can, since they submitted the application, we would still evaluate it and review it and evaluate it. You just won't have the benefit of having been able to ask questions.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you so choose at the end, because we have quite a few dates for the meetings, I purposely made sure that the end of the original schedule for having them for one-on-one sessions was like the middle of January, because I need to have enough time to get your recommendations to the mayor and for the mayor to get them back to me so that I can write the annual action plan. I try very hard to make sure the annual action plan is written well before it needs to be submitted to HUD, because it also has to go for a public hearing and a 30-day public comment period.
Right.
And if we get in sooner to HUD, they tend to look at it a little sooner, but if I wait until the 31st, when the year ends, or July 1st, it takes them that much longer. They get 45 to 60 days to review.
Does the Hodge operate on school holidays?
I don't know. I don't think the city has very many programs that run out of there anymore. I think it's mostly family Woodstock, but I'm not sure.
Is it still a drop-in for any?
I really don't know. I just know that happens down at the Rondo.
Okay, got it. Because most of what is in the Clinton Ave application is things that at least at one time were being provided at the Everett Hodge Community Center.
Right.
And to have two programs running so close to one another, but if those programs are now being run on the Rondout, then maybe it would make sense.
And I'm not really sure what Family Woodstock offers, because they don't come to us for funding anymore.
Right.
I mean, we used to know, what they offer, because they would come to us for funding, so we found out through their applications, but.
But I mean, I do think that we have to, like, when we're making determinations, we should see, are they basically reproducing a program that's already being offered?
I can reach out to Lindsay tomorrow to ask her if the city still runs programs there and what programs they offer.
Right.
Because it also realized this is serving a particular neighborhood to the Clinton, right? So if it's in the Roundout, is that a different group of kids?
It is a different group of kids, but the Clinton Ave is the same neighborhood as the Hodge Center.
I see. So if it's at the Hodge Center and there are programs there, then then it's different.
The reason they used to run the programs Roundout and Midtown were because kids didn't have a way to get. Like if you lived in Midtown, it's harder for you to get to Roundout.
Absolutely.
If you live in Roundout, it's harder to get to Midtown.
Totally. Yeah.
Oh, they do walk.
I'm not saying
that.
Oh, I know. Because they like to go play basketball.
And we can still submit written questions to them.
Oh, sure.
Okay, because I had come up with some questions.
I mean, in all fairness, I really haven't had, this is the first time I'm looking at any of the applications.
question that I had, I'm skipping ahead to something that's not even tonight since we're, but, oh, take a second to find it again. The Ulster Immigrant Defense Network,
Yeah, that's
they're,
later on in our.
yeah, they're later on in our review,
Uh-huh,
but just.
It's the same activity as last year.
Exactly the same.
that's right.
And,
That was,
and we've funded them for how many years?
At least since COVID. And it's, you know, during COVID, they got it twice, and they've been getting $25,000 each year since. I mean, last year,
I remember our discussion.
Steve had commented that, actually, he wasn't the only one, but, you know, like, that activity is something that we've funded a lot, and, they were even told,
Mhm.
that they should be having a I
An
don't see a difference.
expansion or.
Right, I don't want to see a different spin on it, but either have a different activity or expand on it, and they went and basically sent in the same application, asking for the same amount of money as
Right.
last year.
And this was raised as a concern with them last year.
Oh, yes.
And I believe we modified our criteria to say that your application needs to be substantially,
Yeah, there was a whole like, yellow
Enhanced.
page section
That's right.
of, you know, this is what's actually required of you at this point, this is what you should really be doing.
right?
Significant expansion of, if you're using the same program, having at least 25% increase.
Yes.
So they should be aware.
Did we get the read and write program too?
No.
No?
No.
Did you meet with them?
She's talking to you.
Well, no, I didn't
Did
even.
we end up meeting with her?
No. Jeannie and I met with someone, but I don't think it was from the Read and Write program.
Was it with the horses?
I did talk to the horses person.
Yeah.
That center, and
She didn't put one in for this year.
she didn't put one right.
Because she's not sure about being able to spend the money for this year.
Right, exactly.
And she's also not sure where she's really gonna have the space to be able to utilize the horses with the kids.
Right. Because I ran into her and we had a talk actually at the end of the summer when she still hadn't gotten the money and, you know, she was making plans for what to do this fall.
Yeah, at this point,
It was challenging.
at this point, she's gonna wait until spring and
Mhm.
then spend it all in the spring.
Which makes sense because the weather will be better and the kids, yeah, that makes sense.
And she's working with some other, funding sources, so, you know,
Maybe she could run a program over like a spring break or something.
that's what her intent is gonna be.
That's right. No, she was being very thoughtful, I
Yeah,
thought.
I mean, and but she still has to locate a place, like she only had Barnum Park for a specific amount of time. Because otherwise Parks and Rec are running, you know, their programs.
By the way, a new person who's moved into my neighborhood is a retired strategic planner and advisor to nonprofits. And in fact, he worked with me doing a strategic plan when I was at the museum, and he said, you know, at this point, he's fully retired, but he said he wants to get involved in the community, and if there are organizations out there that could use his help, he would be happy to donate, you know, his time to do it. And I thought, some of these organizations that are small that could use help, he might really be able to help them, because what he does more than anything else is ask questions to sort of get them to say what it is they want to do, and he helps them sort of, you know, identify what it is they want to do and streamline programs. And so I don't know if that would be useful, but I wanted to let you know I can send you his information because.
That would be great.
Yeah, it may
because
be
I'm-
that when people call you up and, you know, and they're struggling, he's somebody who they could at least talk to and see if they could meet and maybe he could help them or not, but he wants to help,
That's great.
which is great.
Yeah.
And he was very helpful to us at the museum too.
So, we funded the Center for Holographic Arts last year, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So their expansion is going to be, making it after-school programs, and now they're gonna try to do senior programs too.
Mhm.
What I don't know is how they plan on running it, because when we spoke with her, I mean, these are all questions that you need to ask, but when we spoke with her, she was going to try to do kids and seniors at the same time, and I don't see seniors coming out at night, but kids are in school during the day, so unless she runs two different programs.
I thought they were two different programs, that was my understanding, so that was one of my questions. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure. She personally came in and had a conversation with us.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I mean, our thought was, seniors aren't gonna come out at night and kids have to be in school. So unless it's a weekend, because we thought maybe she would do weekends, and she said it wasn't gonna be a weekend, so.
Trans arts.
But it could be daytime for the seniors.
Yes,
Yes, trans art.
They have this wonderful building over on, what is that, Henry Street and
Right.
Furnace.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
So there, and this is for additional stuff for their building?
they want an IT network.
Oh,
That's
that's
the
what,
organization that wants
that's-
the IT network, okay.
got it. That is a beautiful,
It's a gorgeous
Building.
building, I know, and a beautiful renovation, if you've been inside. It's-
I haven't been inside. I was in part of it earlier on, when they were doing the rehab. But, it's like really close to where I live, so
Oh.
I've walked by it a bunch of times. It's beautiful.
It's beautiful inside too, they did a really nice job restoring it.
It's awesome.
And they have gallery spaces, in there, and they mount shows, which are nice.
And this, I just,
Yeah, I haven't gotten that far in my reading, I just read the ones for tonight.
since they, I just don't know a lot about like what their activities are. I don't see a lot of traffic in and around it.
Well, they do concerts in the summer. I mean, I went to a really great percussion concert, that was there this past summer. So they have from time to time, if you get on their calendar, they have sort of short, they have this outdoor patio, and they put up a tent. And so people were performing in there. It was really nice. The musicians were great.
No Boys and Girls Club? Or, oh, Boys and Girls Club was first today.
That's right.
Yeah, he had a family thing. he couldn't get here.
YMCA is back.
Mhm.
Center for Creative Education.
It's great.
Oh, it's MAD, MAD has been renamed. Instead of the Midtown Arts District, it's now the Midtown Kingston Arts District. So it's the Kingston, it's MCAD instead of MAD.
Oh.
Commad.
I said,
Or
KMAD.
Yes, Commad. It's Commad.
No,
Commad.
Well,
Yeah,
see,
it's
This is how it's listed on here.
that's how it's listed here, but in fact, it's MCAD when you look at the
Oh,
new
MCAD.
logo.
Well,
The new logo.
if they change their name, I'm gonna have to look into this, because I don't know if they changed their articles of incorporation, which they will have to, the name has to be the same. Can't,
They have the legal name organization listed,
And what is it listed as?
and it's listed as Kingston Midtown Arts District, in parentheses.
Oh,
KMAD, formerly known as MAD.
so you know what, right, so even though they branded, I bet the legal name probably is still the same.
I always thought it was KMAT. I didn't even know they changed their name.
Yeah, they did change it just a couple months ago. It's the logo and branding. I don't know if they.
Yeah.
Because the legal names often stay the same. I mean, Woodstock Brickcliff Guild in Woodstock is the Woodstock Craftsmen's Guild on their legal name. And that's all their applications go through, because that was the original organization. But they don't use that name anymore, but it's still their legal name. So I
I'll
don't
just
think,
have to check, because
I don't think
I gotta set up an IDIS, and they have to have a DUNS number. The DUNS number has to match what's on them.
I'm sure.
They've got their DUNS number, and I.
Or now they don't have DUNS anymore. That's either gone by the wayside. Now it's a UEI number. The government, They got rid of, they stopped working with Dun and Bradstreet, and they started working with some other vendor, and it's been a total nightmare for most organizations.
Is this for the Rockland?
Yes,
Yes.
indeed, welcome.
We welcome you and you're welcome to start now.
Really?
Yeah. Come on in.
Amy,
No, Sarah.
Sarah Patsy,
Yes.
Lori Schwartz.
Oh, Lori, hi, Lori.
We look familiar, but we don't know.
I know, because we've never met in person.
We did it at
Just
a
once.
chamber event, eating and drinking at the same time. I'm early.
You are, but what happened is some people before you canceled.
Oh, good. Good.
So we'll have to meet with them another time.
Okay.
But there is somebody
Well,
coming,
You're here for,
6:30.
so she's.
oh, you're here for Circle of Friends.
So what happens if the holographic art? people
She's coming.
Okay,
So I should leave?
No, well, you can stay, but
but at 6:15, there's another appointment.
yes, Center for Holographic Arts,
Right,
and she's 6:30,
right.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I assumed you
but
were.
it's 6:07.
Oh, so we have time. So you have time, yes. Sit down, I'll ask you some questions. Okay.
How are you?
Good.
Good.
You are.
Permanent.
Come in. Thank you, Lori Schwartz.
And I'm Jen.
Jen.
I know.
Yes,
I am Amanda Brock. I'm the Executive Director for Community Development.
Good for you. Probably a great job.
Well, we're lucky to have her.
we're lucky to have her
really,
because
is
it's one of those jobs that's thankless,
It's
like many, so much bureaucracy. but-
Executive
Unsung
positions
for
are amazing. I will say, I just hired an administrator for Circle Texas County. I am totally relieved. She's just there a week and already I'm relieved, so
Good for you.
I'm thrilled. And you know how I knew she was the right person after I hired her? She came in, there was mail on the floor, goes to the slot in the door, the mail was on the floor. She walked in, she picked up the mail. I didn't even ask her to do that. She looked in the garbage can.
Seems like a simple thing.
Really, but it shows initiative.
all the
She
little-
looked in the garbage can, she said, I'll take the garbage out. I didn't even ask her. It's like, yes, just what we need.
Yeah, sometimes you-
Yeah.
Wonderful, taking initiative. All right.
So our little schedule is at 6:15 is
The next applicant.
Center for Holographic Arts.
Plan for her today. I'll be better by the next meeting. I'm still cleaning up. I'm a very busy time.
She works for the Board of Elections.
Oh, boy, yeah.
Exactly.
Are they still counting and doing?
Oh, yes. We will certify it. Hopefully we'll have it done by Thanksgiving. But right now, we received 2,600 affidavit ballots on election day. We're also still receiving absentee. Today was the last day for domestic absentees to be received and considered timely. And it's the 18th for military and overseas ballots. But I mean, for the most part, that part, but now we go through and we do 3% audit. So we take 3% of our equipment and we crack it open and we make sure that the paper ballots match the tapes that were pulled out on election night and just all kinds of reconciliation. Every piece of paper, every ballot has to be accounted for.
Which is wonderful, but also that's so much work.
It's so much work and this is,
It's,
it's,
yeah,
we have a secure election system and we know that.
Yeah.
what you tell us about how hard you work.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you
Yeah.
so much for your service.
It's actually, it's the way that our laws have changed, it's made it so much nicer, because in the past, so much of what we spent during certification was validating votes, because somebody forgot to put a signature or things like that, but now we have a cure process, so I also have active cures on a number of absentee ballots and affidavits where they can send in a copy of their signature to verify that they are the person that they say they are, that sort of thing. So, but it's great. I mean, like on those of the 2,600, I would say the vast majority are going to be counted, will be considered valid. So it's great.
It's great.
Automatic in-state transfer. So it really is helpful at like the college, where you have kids who register to vote in Suffolk and then find themselves in New Paltz on election day. So they can do an affidavit and
Okay.
have their vote counted.
So
Good, it is good.
Especially, so my niece got to vote for the first time this year. And my sister, my brother-in-law took a picture of my sister putting in the mail, my nieces, you
yeah.
know.
That's a great.
Asked about this, my niece, you know, goes to college in the same state, but it's far away, yeah. So, but yeah, that was kind of exciting for our family that she got to
She's
vote.
a voter.
Sure. I have two daughter-in-laws, both from other countries, who both became citizens this year. And
Wow,
I got both of them forms to fill out so that they voted.
That's so
Good for you.
That's awesome.
A lot of times, the League of Women Voters is right at the naturalization ceremonies that we have in Ulster. And this is one thing that I'm sure that the tradition will be carried on, but Nina Osterpack, who recently passed away, she would get this massive cake and it would make like a beautiful celebration. The citizenship ceremonies, it was more than just taking an oath of office. It was truly like this wonderful, you know, there would be like choral performances and yeah, it was beautiful what she did.
And it doesn't happen anymore.
Well, she just passed on and but I'm sure that Taylor will carry on that tradition.
so there hasn't been, you know, a citizenship
I
ceremony
don't
since.
believe so. The last one that I know of, because we had a few voters, happened in Albany.
Oh, okay.
So we had a couple people that registered or became citizens past the deadline. So we were able to like have them come in with paperwork and get commissioners.
I find that so emotional whenever I've seen a reporting of it or on the news.
Oh, it's great. They're open. You should totally go to one
I
sometime.
should have gone to theirs, but they didn't.
And for fun, you should take the citizenship test.
It's difficult.
I'm not sure I'd pass.
It is a little bit challenging, but good if you go to trivia.
Oh,
Did well, so my friend's husband just became a citizen, and so for fun, during the presidential primary, I was like playing on the practice tests, and then it came up as a trivia topic. Yeah, it's great.
So,
I mean, I should know quite a few of the answers just by virtue of, but surprisingly, voting is actually not a requirement of written into the Constitution.
otherwise there would be a lot of people in jail because there are a lot of people who don't vote.
Yeah, that is true.
The League
It's
of
our
Women
choice.
Voters goes to the jail to,
I know, I've gone with them. We're the only county in New York State that does that.
Cindy Bell.
I know, she's one of my best inspectors too.
Yeah, she's a good person.
She holds down the whole site like nobody's business.
So our 6:15 obviously is not here,
I say we
so
move
we,
forward.
and if she shows up, then she can go after.
Right,
Yeah,
think
that's only
that's fair.
15 minutes. I think that's fair. Okay, so we can jump in and so how do you want to work this, Mandy? Do you want her to talk first? Do you
Yeah,
want to
she
ask
can,
questions,
you
or-
can explain to us, I mean, we.
Tell
read
us
your
the
application,
basics of
but-
your application and things that maybe you couldn't expand upon in the application because of the constraints or anything you want to share.
Okay, and how much, I have 15
15
minutes
minutes,
or
yeah.
less, because she's gonna ask me questions? or-
How about 5 minutes?
5 minutes.
And
of
then
questions.
5 minutes of discussing your application, and then that leaves 10 minutes of question and answer. Does
Okay.
that sound good?
So in the 5 minutes, I want to say that the applicant, first of all, I appreciate the fact that there's money there and it's being offered to us, so thank you for that. Circle of Friends of the Dying started in 2012. The mission is to have a home in Kingston for people who are dying. Low income, moderate income people who cannot afford a caregiver during that last cycle of life. Hospice will come in to work with them as long as they're safe in their home. If they're not safe in their home, they are asked, is there someone who can come and live with you? Can we send you somewhere? No, no, no. They can go to a nursing home. That's where they would be. I'm not against nursing homes. They work really well for some people. Personally, which is why I did this project, I don't want to be in a nursing home. Many people don't. So Circle Home will take these people, low income, moderate income people, into the home at no cost to them, but it's a huge cost to us. So,
Is that home on Mary's Avenue? Or
No.
that's something else?
no, it's on Word Street,
Words, okay.
yeah, in the Rondout. It's right down the road here. I pass there all the time. So the real budget is $420,000. That's to keep Circle of Friends home open. But since
Annually? Annually?
annually, yes, yes. We can only take 2 people at a time. So over the course of a year, it's about 25, 30 people. And besides that, we have a mission to educate the public around anything pertaining to dying, death, grief, bereavement. What do I do with my body? You know, anything at all. In fact, this morning I did a death cafe in Woodstock. We do it once a month on Zoom, and we do it once a month in person. So I did one this morning. And, you know, all kinds of things come up. And people get their questions answered by each other. It's a conversation. It's nothing that we teach anybody, it's just a conversation. And during the last few months of the 2023, the idea of Circle Home, there are 30 of these further upstate. We're the first one in the Mid-Hudson Valley. So Mayor Noble loved the fact that we were putting Kingston on the map. Kingston's on the map, having the first home in the Mid-Hudson Valley. So the house is usually run by volunteers who work with the people. Similar to hospice, but hospice can't do certain things that we do. So hospice comes in and does the medical care, and the volunteers do everything else. Except what happened here is the last 3 months of life are not pretty. I don't know if anybody's been with anybody around the last 3 months, but it's not pretty. So when the volunteers came, they were expecting to read to the people, to take the people to the movies, to play music for the people, to watch television with the people. But our people are not in that shape. Our people are really needing different kind of care. So we did not have enough volunteers, so we had to hire home health aides as an adjunct to the volunteers. So that put an extra $20,000 a month onto our budget. So we weren't prepared for that. That wasn't in any budget that we had figured out. So we decided that before we totally ran out of money, we had about $100,000 left. We're not going to take any more residents, but instead we're going to build out the educational arm. So that's what we've done for the past few months. We have speakers at the house, like I did the Death Cafe tonight. We do advanced directives with people, which is your healthcare proxy, your living will. I'm going to assume you all don't have, because most people don't. They think they need it, and they do. But so we're doing advanced directives with people, which is the living will, the healthcare proxy, what to do with your body, and all that stuff. On Thursday, we're having a speaker come at no charge, again, talking about writing your obituary. We've had people come and talk about, again, at no charge, legacy writing. You know, how do you want to be remembered? So we're just building that out. And next month, December 3rd, Robert Cornett is coming to speak about near-death experience. So the whole idea is to bring death out and put it on the table and have people become comfortable with it because it's going to happen to us all. So the huge budget, 420,000, is for 2 residents and all the volunteers and the home health aides and everybody else. But the budget we wrote for you guys was just 3 new programs, because what we're looking at is how do we become sustainable? Because we're not charging the residents. Where's our money coming from? Grants are great, endowments will be great. Fundraisers are great, minimal, but great, gets the word out. So we've come up with 3 programs, 2 of which can bring in money, which is what this grant was for here. But the whole grant, as you've read it, is about the home, because that's really what we want. We really want the home up and running. So the way we're gonna cut the cost on the home health aides is by having doulas come into the home. A doula is like a birth doula, someone who takes care of somebody who's dying. Birth doula is birth, we're a death doula. So we're not going to train the death doulas. Hospice trains the death doulas. Suzanne O'Brien over in Rhinebeck, she trains the death doulas. These days, anybody can train a death doula. I could train a death doula. There's no certification program. So what we realized is these doulas are getting trained all over by various groups, but they don't have any hands-on experience because who are they working with? So we want to have the doulas come into our home as a mentorship. We want to mentor the doulas. We're going to charge them to be part of our program, take care of our people, and learn while they're taking care of our people. So they would pay us a set fee to become part of that program. So that's one of the programs in the grant. Second thing we realized is you go to the doctor, you get a prognosis that you don't want to hear, and you just go home, right? And you don't call hospice, you don't call family services, you don't call anybody, you're just there. But you realize you can't go food shopping and you can't do your laundry, so what do? So we're going to get the word out to the doctors and the discharge planners that we will go into their home. They don't have to come to us. We'll go into their home. These people are not officially dying yet, and they don't have 3 months or less to live officially, and they're not under hospice care. We will go in. We will set up their community, their friends, their neighbors, their book club, their place of worship, whoever it is that they want to pull together. We'll pull them together, and we will have them learn how to create a team, create a calendar with them and a team. On Tuesday, Jane comes and brings dinner. On Thursday, Margaret comes and takes the laundry, like that. So in 1979, I co-founded hospice here in the county. And before we had a lot of volunteers, this is what we did. We went into people's homes and we worked with them and we set up, and it works beautifully. It's a great thing. So I went to hospice and I said, hey, this is what we're thinking of doing. What do you think? They love the program because those people are nowhere. They're they fell in the gap. They're just in there. So they're really supporting us in doing this, not financially, but that's a whole other story. So they want us to do this program, go to people's homes, and we want to do that. The way it would work is to bring in some money for us. We go in 3 different visits, like 2 or 6 hours of free visits. And then after that, if the team still needs us, we will charge, either the team can get it together or the person that we're working with get it together, about $100 a visit, of which we split with the volunteer or the doula. So it's a way for the doula to make a little extra money. It brings the money to us, it serves the client, and it helps the team. So that's the second program. And the third program, which is something that the doulas also need, it's like a death cafe. Doulas will come together. We're going to start first on Zoom, collecting all the doulas from all over, every county, anywhere, because when we do get the cafes, we get people from China and Germany. It doesn't really matter, it's on Zoom, it's no cost. So we're gonna do that for the doulas, and then after doing it a few times on Zoom, we're gonna bring them into the home. And once we bring them into the home, then they can work a little easier in the community. And they would become part of our database, like we would vet them, so that when she comes, this client comes and says, I need somebody to take care of me, I need a doula. We've already vetted them, we've already trained them, and they're off and running. So those are the 3 programs that are written here at that budget of, I think, 35,000 or whatever that was. And as I said, it's great programs, definitely needed, but it's not our end goal. Our end goal is to get the house open for residents. That's it for me. Ask me anything, I'll see if I can answer it.
Sounds wonderful.
Yeah.
It really is a much needed program. Some of the constraints of HUD money, I am concerned at the funding component, the charging and how that would work with the serving of low mod, like how would that, because, you know, 80% have to meet income criteria, and do you feel like that's gonna be a challenge?
For us to find low, moderate income people? No.
You're referring to the payment, you know,
Yeah.
after the 3 visits if they opt.
After-
Yeah,
right.
that's what I think.
I think they're gonna have an issue possibly with a payment.
Right.
And then would the doulas also be low, like with that class of, would you be recruiting primarily low, moderate income workers?
I would imagine, and I'm making this up, that most people are low and moderate income these days, and I would imagine that many of the doulas would be moderate income.
Yeah, well, I would imagine, I mean, like a lot of the personal care aides and such are
Absolutely.
low mod.
Yeah.
Living the dream of low mod, so I would imagine that's probably gonna be part of your pool of people you'll be recruiting from. But I just, I don't know how that's gonna, whether that is a potential red flag for HUD.
So how about if we use this money and then put those low, moderate doula people into this category and not charge them?
Right.
But then we have other doulas who are not low, moderate that we could charge.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that would,
It would be run on like a scholarship program.
Yeah.
for Those who,
basically like yeah, I like that.
and it would have to be at least 51% of the people
Of the doula.
Yeah.
Uh,
or even the homes that you're going into, if they're giving them the first 3 times that you would go for free,
right,
then you said that you're basically gonna charge about $100 a visit.
right,
You would have to also work something out where at least 51% of the people who are LMI get scholarships for that too.
right. So those people who can't afford it, but not low, moderate, because they're also dying,
Right.
they could be charged.
Right.
And then the money from the grant could be used for the others.
Yes.
Also, well, something just to also flag, and maybe other districts too. So oftentimes an organization will come with one program, right? And what, as I was listening, and you really talk about 3 different programs. And so something that I don't know if it change or whatever, but something maybe to think about, if it's possible, is if there's one of these programs, or these special programs that you feel like, oh, you know, whether it's the doulas and then it's gonna be free for these doulas and we scholarship, and then the other doulas will charge, maybe what you're applying for is for that and not the home visit program. So does that make sense? So focusing the application around one program that would allow you and allow us frankly more freedom.
But the application has already been submitted. So I don't know if,
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean,
I mean,
and I just had a question too, is how many people, you know, one of the criteria that we look at too is how many people are served. You know, just to know, and I think you talked about the Deaf Cafes serve a lot of people because you're doing that on Zoom, but for these 3 programs, do you have an estimate? Or, because you said about 25 doulas, but in terms of the home service, do you have any idea how many homes?
You said it was 2 people at a time?
In the
No,
home.
that's in the home, but this is not for that.
This is not, this is different.
Oh,
I don't remember what hospice said, but I did speak to a few doctors, and I said to them, so when you give somebody a prognosis, what happens? He says, well, I tell them, and then I don't know what happens, I don't know where they go. I said, it's a few people, a lot of people, this is quite a few people. So I don't know what that turns out to be as far as the numbers go, I don't really know. But if you think about yourself or people you know, you know, you get a prognosis of something. I mean, I had a heart attack. It took me 16 hours before I actually ended up in the hospital because I didn't want to admit I was having a heart attack. So people are in the state of denial quite a bit. So I don't know how to answer your question.
yeah. I think this is such a need in our community. And I wanna do whatever we can to make it so that we can support you. I don't know if you would need to amend your budget or.
It has such strict guidelines, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's really funny because I was writing a grant to
Because I feel like, I'm sure that like you could carve easily, like the funds down. Because I'm sure you're gonna meet the targets. I just don't know if as written, the proposal is gonna allow.
you could move around your budget, because in your budget, you're saying CDBG is paying $25,000 for salary only. You'd be better off to say that you're doing scholarship and stipends, or the legal, or the audit, or the materials and supply and the printing.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to show that 51% of the people that you are serving are low moderate income. But your budget is just for a
And so-
salary for 25,000.
And the salary is not for the doulas, and, no, that's just for the person who is organizing the program. You're an administrator.
Right, exactly.
Right.
Because somebody has to be in charge of the whole thing.
Right.
It's interesting because when we were writing the grant to Novo, I said, we have to be sustainable. We can't keep going back to the same grants and the people ask. So we came up with these programs to be sustainable. So now it doesn't work here. That's pretty funny if you think about it.
Well, it depends on every funding agency, as you know, is different, and HUD is,
But I think that there is a mechanism for you to carve out the work that you do in such a way that it's still fundable. Because your outreach visits, many of these folks are gonna be, living on fixed incomes, Medicare, they're gonna meet the criteria. I think that, you're gonna find some of the people, I keep wanting to say women, which is presumptive, but the reality. But I think that you're gonna run into a lot of women who are looking to advance their skill set and like, I think it's a great thing to offer that kind of a training program here in Kingston. Because it's something that our residents could take that skill and, build that into a career for themselves.
Even the volunteers, because the volunteers are coming in and they're learning also how to take care of their own, which we need to know because we don't know how to do it.
no, we do.
I'm myself am a little confused because down here at the bottom, I'm trying to find where those numbers match up with what the in-kind is. You have a full breakdown. But like you have materials and supplies of 26,450, but I don't see materials and supplies on that list.
Materials about 26,450. And you don't see it on the list below.
Materials and supplies is there, it's one up from printing.
Right,
No,
but-
down here at the
But down
bottom.
here, so what is,
So over here, she's got, please see below for the breakdown of all, but that breakdown doesn't match the numbers of the in-kind.
Right.
But if you could figure out a way to move some of your in-kinds to be the CDBG portion,
Right.
and then we could go from there.
Okay, so the 2,000 in kind. I'm not clear what you're saying.
She's looking at these items and looking at these.
Like you have a breakdown here.
Right.
Over here, you say, please see down below.
Okay.
or
So-
breakdown of all, right, all the costs,
So
right?
here you've got 26,450 for materials and supplies, but I don't see that down below.
Well, that's a good point.
Right, so this budget doesn't seem to relate to anything above, it, I guess is what you're saying, right?
Right. So of course, I wrote the whole big full budget.
I mean, would it make sense for you to, Mandy, would you be able to like set up a meeting and work with her on the budget to get this into a position to make it HUD compliant?
The other issue that we may have is the Zoom meetings,
The what?
the Zoom meetings.
Yeah.
Because you would have to prove that 51% of the people that are participating in the Zoom meeting are residents of the city of Kingston.
Oh, we can't do that, so forget that, I'll take that out. I can't do that.
I mean, these are just, and that's not us, this is just.
No, I understand, but
this is,
that's not at all possible.
This is HUD.
But you have 3 full programs. They're with.
You could get away with
Yeah.
one of those.
Exactly, like
You don't need all three.
Yeah, so that's what I'm trying to say, is that you can sort of, if you could shape a program so that you are targeting the 51% Kingston residents that are 51% of, whoever you're working with in whatever program are low to moderate income. And that would be something that we could really consider because it would be meeting HUD's requirements.
And your
Not
application
charge
is,
them.
right, and your application is already written and been submitted, so just picking a program from that and just running with that would be okay, but we can't just, we wouldn't be able to say, oh, just rewrite another application.
Yeah,
because that's what everybody else
Exactly.
writing.
Yeah, it's not like a different program that.
But I mean, the good news is that your application included so much that you're in a fine position
Yeah.
to narrow it down into that area that would.
Just let
Okay, so basically, one program, 51% from Kingston, no Zoom, and no charge.
These are service programs for the Kingston community, right?
And I mean, it's not that inherently it can't be Zoom, it just has to be, if they're doing Zoom, they
I
have
love
to
the
be.
idea of the home visits. I think
Yeah,
that
and
the home
home visits
visits,
are very strong.
the home visits alone, I think that is such an important thing to offer.
So we were so clever in coming up with a way to become sustainable by charging them, but that doesn't work here.
Not for this
No, but
funder.
here's the thing,
Yeah.
is that those programs that to help you with sustainability are still really great ideas. What we're saying is, you can ask for this funding, for this support funding with one of those programs.
Right.
And you are able to take in less income, right, from that program because we're giving you funding to help support that, yeah? And you can have these other programs running as well. That's what we're saying, is that this isn't, downsize everything. It's really, oh no, you can actually, if
Do both.
you can do all of it, and you don't have to worry about paring down fees to meet certain criteria for other programs necessarily. You just focus on one, meeting these requirements.
With the home visits, are there any materials and supplies that you would use for the home visit?
There's a training that we have to give to the people who go into the homes.
Okay, I mean, these are things that you can take from the in-kind and just move salary further into it, or if the salary is you or whoever is running the program, you can take a portion of that as well. But like you have scholarship and stipend $39.50, I would say right away move that over into the CDBG column. And if you have more people, it still has to be 51%, but if you end up with, let's say, 20 people that you're dealing with, 20 people, 11 people are who have to be low moderate income.
Right.
So those 11 people, you could make your scholarship or stipend.
Okay, we have a little work to do.
I mean, you're printing, if it's, whatever you're putting out there for everybody to find out about your program.
Right.
You can put that into the budget.
Okay. So for the training and for the regular outreach. Good. I'm glad you all see the value of the main program. The main program.
I think it's really wonderful. I mean, I don't know anybody that doesn't have concerns about older people in their lives and
And how to care for them.
yeah,
Um,
there's, like,
No, that's
you don't really know, and all the different stuff that you need to put together. I wouldn't even know where to begin.
And the other thing about this, and I'll just say that too, is some people who are not low to moderate, but who can afford somebody in their home 24/7. But they can't schedule the caregiver, and when the caregiver doesn't show up, what are they gonna do? Because their daughter lives in Oshkosh and she can't make all those phone calls. It's better for that person to be in our home too, in a
Yeah.
sense. And that is one way we can charge too, and not be sustainable. Have one room for somebody who can't pay, and one room for somebody who can pay until all the funding comes in, and then we don't charge anybody. So that's also a possibility.
I think that sounds like a good possibility.
Yeah.
Because you're right, there are plenty of people who really need help and they have some money, but they're not being served properly.
So it's very exciting. I find it very exciting. Definitely needed, and I'm glad you
Definitely
appreciate it.
I'm very inspired by the work that you're doing. I think it's great.
Come and see the house. you're all
The house
welcome.
is beautiful. I've seen the house. It's a gorgeous house.
The house was given to us. It's in the roundabout, one of those old mansions.
Mhm.
We renovated it for 2 years.
Yeah.
It's just amazing. We have an elevator
It's not, you gotta fix that elevator. You can't get a stretcher up and down in that elevator.
and they have these different ones. They have these kinds that are collapsible. They sit and it goes in.
Mine doesn't, but
You need a new stretcher.
Or there's a seat. You can put a person in a seat.
if they're alive,
Well, yeah,
Well, if they're not allowed, they can go down the stairs. But the purpose of the elevator is for people who want to go down and eat dinner with their family at the dining room table. They can get down there, or they want to go outside. It stops on the outside level floor. So we have a little garden area. It's just,
That's great.
it's a great house. So if you know of any other funding sources around, I'm open. Anything else?
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Thank you for your
thank you for all the work on doing this grant and
Yeah.
coming in to see us.
Yeah, thank you for the input. We'll make some adjustments. So how much time do we have to make these adjustments and? what do we-
I would start working on it. Amy and I'll be in touch. Amy's our little go-to.
The go-to person, yes.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
No, she'll work with you directly. She's Mandy's assistant, but she'll be in charge and follow through and has a lot of information to share. All the stuff that Mandy just shared.
Okay. You feel-
Feel better.
Huh?
Whatever you got, yeah.
Bronchitis.
Oh.
It's
bronchitis. I
moved
didn't
down to
know.
bronchitis.
You know, a lot of people have pneumonia.
I even inflated lungs.
So this is.
Anyway, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. We will.
Good luck with your beautiful house.
Thank you, thank you.
I love your bag.
Thank
I
you.
love a good sack bruise. I have a sack bruise wallet.
Oh, you do? That's really good.
Yeah, I like it because it's not leather. It might not leather. Nice meeting you all.
Okay. Have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
Start them, I know, I
I
think.
know, it feels so strange.
Why is it midnight?
Yeah.
Well, so I guess we're not seeing a Center for Holographic Arts either.
No,
Okay.
I don't, and wasn't.
Now, are we gonna be required to reschedule them at another date? Because I'm kind of feeling like,
I feel like we.
I don't want to keep dragging out these meetings,
No, I mean,
especially if they're no-shows.
I feel like if there are no show, there are no show.
If they reach out and say, oh, you know, they can go to the end
But
of the
if, but if
line.
they reach out to you with an emergency, then you would.
Yeah.
schedule them. But if somebody just doesn't show up and they don't contact you, then
Right,
I would agree.
And I feel like, you know, we can always have questions in writing. I mean, the thing is, it really just doesn't serve that.
No, it doesn't serve that, that's right, this is an opportunity for them to come in and find out what the concerns are, if they don't take advantage of it, then.
Yeah, I don't want to sound like a jerk, I just don't like, I don't feel like we need to coddle people that
No.
got an email and like,
No, and.
stand us up.
so anything else or I'll end the meeting?
No, I think you can end the meeting.
I need to find the stuff.